all weekend, the big game is also big business for the sex trade. Thousands of underage girls will be trafficked to Dallas, specifically in town for the festivities. For an MSNBC documentary, Sex Slaves, Texas, we recently went there to investigate the stories of missing girls from Latin America who end up being held as slaves here in the U.S.
I had big dreams.
They are teenage girls who came to Texas with great hope.
I dreamed of buying a house for my mom.
But dreams of supporting loved ones back home became a nightmare, being trapped in a life of daily rape and beatings.
We have people's daughters being raped, basically, in bars under threat of force.
More often than not, the story behind sex slavery begins in a small Latin American village with young girls with big dreams. In January 2003, Wendy and her friends, 16-year-old Suheli and 14-year-old Anna, were eating lunch at their school in Tiny El Gancho, a remote village in North Honduras. They were approached by two well-dressed businessmen. To Wendy and her friends, being recruited was like winning the lottery.
At that moment, I became very happy. They said they would pay us $150 a day and that they wanted to help people from our country with jobs in their factory up north.
They often promised them legitimate jobs, either cleaning jobs or simply being bartenders or serving drinks or working in a restaurant. And suddenly when they arrive, they begin to realize that they're trapped.
The horror started the next morning. They began with Anna.
They grabbed my youngest friend and began having their way with her. Afterwards, they did the same to my other friend. Then an older man, who was about 65 years old, started with me. He said he was going to show me how to be a woman. But I don't know what that means, I said. So I'm going to show you, he said, and he took off all my clothes and began raping me.
From that day forward, Wendy says she was raped, tortured, and moved from brothel to brothel, often working alongside 15 other enslaved girls, each servicing 6 to 7 men a night.
I've seen people treat livestock better than these people treat their girls.
Look closely on the outskirts of Houston and lining the streets near the port, you will find an abundance of unassuming bars known as cantinas. Most cantinas look like regular nightclubs, offering little more than loud music and cold beer. But those that know will tell you that behind this public facade are hidden passageways and tiny rooms where girls, many of them from Latin America, are forced to be sex slaves, trapped and enslaved by threat of violence.
I think the average American citizen would be shocked to see one girl treated like this, much less the number we have here in Houston.
Texas State Investigator Mike Barnett is part of a team that has spent the last 6 years trying to shut down traffickers who kidnap and rape young women. And Linda Geffen is the county attorney for Harris County, Texas, and she helps prosecute those cases. Good morning to both of you. Nice to have you here.
Good morning.
And
Thank you for having us.
it's great to have you because this is such a widespread problem, Mike. I think a lot of us kind of turn a blind eye. We don't want to see this horror happening here in America. How widespread a problem is this? How many girls have you seen involved in this?
I don't think anybody has a good number on it because it's hard to get a number on how many women there are. We were looking at close to 200 or 300 in our little area in Harris County.
And it's not just sex slavery.
No, ma'am, it's not just sex slavery. It can be somebody that's a housemaid or something of that nature, like a labor situation that aren't being paid.
And explain how these cantinas, in your case here, are making money from these girls.
Well, they make a lot of money. They use them as what most people think are prostitutes, but that's not really a good name for them. They're being raped. They're being brought into a cantina, and you saw in the story they have anywhere from 15 to 20 of them in a cantina, and the customer can come in and pick one. And they'll pay anywhere from $50 to $100. It depends on where you go for a girl to have sex with them.
And Linda, I mean, as a woman who prosecutes these cases, why we can't just go in and shut down these places, arrest these people who are putting these women up for sale?
Well, part of the problem is that it is the fastest growing criminal industry globally right now, rivaling the drug trade. And so the people who run these organizations are very sophisticated. And our unit, we're very fortunate in Harris County that Vince Ryan has established a special prosecutions unit, and we try to target the criminal enterprise and stop the flow of money. Meanwhile, the girls are coming in rapidly, they're coming across the border, and as soon as they get across the border, they're beaten, they're raped, their families are threatened, they're threatened, and they can have, like in the Costa Rica where you showed that piece, the door could be open, but they are in such fear of their life and their families' lives that they will not do that.
They stay in these situations.
They stay
don't
in the
run.
situations.
Well, really important to shed light on this problem. We thank you for being here again. Linda Geffen, Mike Barnett, thank you both. And by the way, you can see Sex Slaves Texas and the premiere of Trafficked Slavery in America on Sunday night on MSNBC. We'll be right back.